Right. This regular board meeting will be recorded and uploaded to our district website. The definitive documentation and decisions of the board are noted in our meeting minutes. Any use of electronic devices such as a computer or cell phone by trustees is related to the business of the meeting. The core values that guide the work of the school district are respect, compassion, honesty, responsibility, and relationships. So I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:31. And we will acknowledge that today's meeting is being held within the traditional territory of the Dene Zaa and Treaty 8. 1.1 on our agenda is our grounding documents that cover our work as a board. Item number C should read policy 1001, roles and responsibility of board and trustees. It's correct in your package, but not on the front cover, so we will note that. Before we move forward with our first presentation, can I please have a mover and seconder for the agenda? Moved by David, seconded by Bill. Are there any additions to the agenda? Seeing no additions, calling the question. All in favor?
In favor.
Thank you, Ida. And we're going to start tonight with a presentation from our auditors, KPMG, and we will let Angela introduce our presenter for this evening.
This is Emin Ackert. I haven't said your last name before, so hopefully I didn't mess it up. We have been working with Emin on the audit for the 24-25 year, and he will be giving you a presentation.
Great. Thank you, Angela. So my name is Emin Ackert. I am the audit manager in charge of the audit for School District 60 with KPMG. I have gone through our detailed audit findings report with the board earlier last week, and I am happy to report the audit went well, and we are in a position to issue a clean audit report once the financial statements are approved by the board and we get a couple little administrative items done that should be complete in the next couple days here. I'm just going to go through the financial statements, the summarized financial statements in these slides. You are welcome to follow along in the financial statements. However, it is all summarized within these slides. So beginning with the statement of financial position, which just shows your assets, your liabilities. We're starting with our financial assets, which include cash, accounts receivable, and inventories for resale. So the district's financial assets increased by $2.47 million compared to last year, primarily due to an increase in cash and accounts receivable from the province. These increases are mainly due to deferred funding that was received in advance, as well as operating funding received in excess of expenses. Moving on to the financial liabilities. Total financial liabilities increased by $7.8 million from last year. And this is primarily due to an increase in deferred revenue and deferred capital revenue. The deferred revenue increased due to funding for projects which was received late in fiscal 2025 and has not been spent yet, while the deferred capital revenue has increased mainly due to many large-scale projects that are ongoing. And once these funds have been spent on the acquisition of tangible capital assets, the contributions are amortized into revenue over the life of the asset as required. Moving on to non-financial assets, which include your tangible capital assets, your prepaid expenses, and your supplies inventory. On a total basis, increased by $6.1 million primarily due to an increase in tangible capital assets, which includes all the land, buildings, work in progress, vehicles, furniture and equipment, computer hardware and software. Now moving on to the statement of operations, which just summarizes the revenue and expenses for the year. But it also includes, so it does include operating, special purpose, and the capital fund. So it is looking at it as a whole. So revenue did increase by $5.34 million, and expenses increased by $5 million in the year compared to prior year. However, I think this is probably best understood by looking at each of the funds separately in schedules 1 through 4 of the financial statements. It just gives a slightly better explanation of what was happening in each of the funds. Taking a look at the statement of changes in net debt. All this statement is doing is it's showing total financial assets for the year less total liabilities. So net debt has increased in the year by $5.4 million. And this is primarily due to greater investment in tangible capital assets, which aren't included in that net debt calculation as they aren't a financial asset, they're a non-financial asset. So as mentioned there on the last slide, there was more significant investment in tangible capital assets this year. And I just wanted to highlight exactly what that was invested in. So the largest increase came from additions to buildings work in progress, which increased by $5.8 million. While there was a couple other smaller additions with vehicles increasing by $185,000 and computer hardware increasing by $232,000. The last slide here is just highlighting the total accumulated surplus for each fund. So the operating fund increased by its surplus for the year of $407,000. The special purpose fund remained at nil, and the capital fund increased by $213,000. Again, I would like to point out that Schedule 1 does offer a little more detail on each of the specific funds. That is my presentation on the financial statements. I would like to thank you very much. And in conclusion, I did want to thank all the district staff, especially Angela and Adam and their team for their support through this audit process. Thank you very much.
All right, any questions?
So when I look at, there's a couple of numbers that are the same in 24 and 25. So my guess is they're just obviously numbers that haven't any, whatever estimation not changed.
Like
Like inventories for resale is the same as well as,
retirement obligation.
well, the retirement obligation, yeah, I was just gonna mention because I know we talked about that on Wednesday, that will have to get looked at. And then the supplies inventory too, is there ever, like, is there
An adjustment.
adjustment that's made, or is that every 5 years, or is it as it goes, or when do we adjust those?
Yeah, we have, the supplies inventory just kind of varies. That kind of represents kind of what we have for like paper. We just leave it in there as at least it's capturing something.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's not, I know, it's
evaluated,
I know.
And then the 116, is that?
That inventory for resale.
Yeah, that's the land we have.
Oh.
Which we keep at the value we purchased it, if I was a increase it. So, yes. And the valuations we get from the BC assessments, so just leave it at this.
Yeah, BC assessment.
I don't.
Quite slow.
Ida, but let us know if you can't hear us and we're going to have to use our gym voices.
Sorry, Ida.
No, I'm fine. I can hear all of you.
Okay.
And you said the asset retirement obligation is one that it will get looked at.
Yes.
Yeah.
This year.
So I had a question from the notes to the financial statement, and I don't know if it's something Angela can address or you can. But it talked about the most recent valuation of the obligations related to employee future benefits was done in March 31st, 2025. And it'll be done again March 31st, 2028. So there's a 3-year gap there. Does that mean we just keep using the number from March 31st when our staffing levels could change, or?
I'll go. It does get adjusted every year. It's just that the valuation they do is extremely involved every 3 years. It takes a lot of data collection and information from the district. So they do ask us questions throughout the year, like each year, to adjust it based on staffing levels. But the major valuation happens every 3 years because we could not do that level of work.
Okay, so it is every 3 years, but there's numbers we're
major.
using there. in
Yeah, the
between.
numbers have shifted every year. Always updated. And then do you have something to add?
So I would 100% agree with Angela there. The actuaries do their full evaluation every 3 years, exactly like you're saying. But they do adjust it every year, exactly like you're saying as well. So I think you can see, I don't know if you have the notes open there, but in that note, you can see that they are using like a different discount rate between 2025 and 2024 at April 1st and March 31st. And so they use those different discount rates into consideration when projecting it out.
Okay, thank you. And then on page 20, tangible capital assets, it lists sites. And I just wondered what constituted a site, whether it's each property the district owns is a site, or is it a site with a building on it? Because I know we do have properties that don't have buildings on them.
Sites, to my understanding, is just the land, right, Angela?
Yeah, the land that the buildings are built on, so they have a separate, when they were transferred to us, we would have put the land into the site and the building or constructed the building.
But there's places that land we own that doesn't have a building on it, like the lot next door.
And it just
Or
sits in
Montgomery.
sites.
So where does that fit into our assets?
Yeah, just under sites.
It's under
Yeah,
sites.
and it doesn't get amortized, it's just the value it is because they assume that land one day is the same.
Yeah.
Later, but there's some.
But I know there's some land holdings that we have that aren't, some of them are old school sites.
Mhm.
And when we went through the concept of remediation, I went, do we count those and what needs to be remediated if we were ever to sell them, or?
We would definitely have to look at those. But for right now, if they were something that we purchased or was allocated to us for the long term for us to construct something on, it would be in here. Just like how that piece of property, the 116,000 that Madeline was speaking to is held separately because that was for the land, for the construction project when they were building houses. So we have that, but we're not going to build anything that we're going to operate in. So.
No, it's the right time for this now. Which sites do we own now that are occupied?
Well, next door, and we have one by Montgomery. I think there's one in Hudson Hope. Yeah, jump in.
Pink Mountain.
And Pink. No, we don't have the Pink Mountain one anymore.
Did we get rid of that? That's one of those ones.
I thought they took it back. Well, we'll get back to you on that one, but Leah and I are What?
I thought we still had big problems.
Okay, thank you, Mel.
And there was one other one somewhere that I got a request to sell on that I forwarded to you 2 or 3 years ago. I can't even remember what it was.
City lot.
No, it was a rural one and I went, whoa, there hasn't been a school there in a long time. And
I thought it was.
Beldonald?
no, it's not Valdano. So I have to, it's old news in my email. So I just, when that word sites was there, I wanted to clarify that any land we own that's a separate title is deemed to be a site, and all our land holdings are valued within there. Okay. Any further questions? Ida, you want to make sure if you've got any, we don't forget you.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Right. Well, I think you got a light. No, I'm just kidding.
He deferred to me a couple times, which we'll talk about later.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us and going over that tonight. Could I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the 2024-2025 audited financial statements? Moved by Madeline, seconded by Nicole. Any further discussion? Calling the question then, all in favor?
In favor.
Thank you, Ida. So that is carried. All right, so thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Angela, for everything over the course of the audit. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you as well. Have a good night.
Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item number 4 on our agenda, trustee engagements and celebrations. And we celebrate the fact that Trustee Campbell from Area 4 is joining us tonight. We appreciate her diligence given the health challenges. So Ida, what would you like to share?
I would like to share that I've been in touch with the 3 tax and 3 administrators so far this year and updated them on myself. And before I went to the opening of the Beldonald Playground, which their PAC had applied for a grant from Peace River Regional District, and Peace River Regional District completely paid for the playground. The kids are loving it out there. And I had a good visit with all the staff and parents the night that they had the celebration. That's what I have.
Thank you very much, Ida. Trustee Gillis.
I attended last Thursday night, the welcome barbecue open house at the Hudson School. And I didn't make it to the PAC meeting because it's always today, so it's always the same day as these meetings. And that's about it.
All right. Trustee Lehman, Area 1.
And it's a somewhat informal board meeting at the end of August. Clearview Park is has already met too. I was there, which will be to our benefit because there's going to be some playground questions, and financial audit review for KPMG.
Thank you. Trustee Scott Moncrief.
I have not been in touch with my schools, but I will be, and getting a hold of the PACs as well.
Vice Chair Snow.
Right. I've been to ELC, North Peace, Kearney and Ambrose, had chats with them all. And glad to see some improvements in the schools going fairly quickly. I was at the board meeting that we had at the end of August, been involved in some of the online meetings we've been having with the Northwest. Yeah, things going good.
Right, and trustee Witten sends regrets for a wonderful reason tonight. He is at home with his new baby daughter, so welcome, new little person to our school district catchment. We're excited. All right. I have spent a lot of time over the summer planning for the joint meeting in Terrace, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the agenda. I've also done some rural and remote work. I'm working with the committee on our year 2 report, which will go to the board at the end of October. Like Ida, I got to attend the Bell Donald Playground celebration. And what was really neat was to see multi-generations there. I brought my grandma, was the comment from one little person. So that was neat to see. There's a report in the package of a board chair call that I attended, and I was at the recent NPA meeting or audit committee meeting. And on Thursday, there was an Indigenous Education Department meeting with 6 IEC members out at Cameron Lake. They overnighted on Thursday, and then they were there they overnighted on Wednesday and were there all day Thursday. And it was a great meeting and a great feel. Bill forgot to mention that he was at the new teacher welcome with me. And I just really want to specifically thank the staff that were involved in organizing that. I know that Dina heads it up, but both Wade and Alex presented. There was just a great feel in the room, and those teachers were excited to be here. You could see teacher teams that were already working together. We're from Ann Roberts and we're doing, and it was a great evening and a really good feel. So please, Stephen, extend our thanks to all of the staff involved with them. Yep.
Since you reminded me there, that was a very good event. And one of the reasons why I like to go to that and meet those new teachers came out again. One of the teachers wanted to get involved in some local activities. And since I've lined him up with a couple of different groups for him and his wife kind of thing. So there's people that we necessarily don't see too often because they're up in Provide that I've lined them up for some activities kind of thing. So being new to the district, it's nice to help them out.
That's really important in terms of retention.
Yes.
So we'll move on then to item number 5 on our agenda, which is the minutes of the regular board meeting of June the 16th, which is pages 6 to 13 in your package. People a chance to look at those. Yeah. All right. Can I please get a mover and a seconder? Moved by David, seconded by Bill. Are there any errors or omissions? It seems like such a long time ago.
Does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Right. Calling the question then, all in favor?
In favor.
Thanks, Ida. Any business arising from the minutes? We're gonna defer the bus question on page 13 till we have our public here because they specifically asked about that, so we'll till they're back, because I'm hoping they'll be back. So, moving on then to item number 6, approval of excerpts of the in-camera meeting, which there is none, so we don't have number 6. Thank you. On to announcements and reminders. As we take a look at everything that's upcoming, is there anything that we have missed off that list?
I know we're into November there. We normally look at the schedule for Remembrance Day.
Yeah, we'll put that on for. Yeah. A little bit later. I know I laughed. I was driving and thought, what an amazing fall season for cross-country running. And then when we got the sports list, they decided to do cross-country running in the spring. So, oh, okay, change. So. Great. Okay, I'm sure there will be things as we go along, so we'll move on to senior staff reports and we'll turn it over to Stephen.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 1 of my report is the HR activity report. Next item under education is the online, and I'll review some of those items here. Lots of information for trustees to look through, including the attached reports. As you know, first thing under student learning, and by the way, all the categories for the superintendent's report is organized under the categories of the board strategic plan. Okay, so that's through student learning, people development, and those kinds of things. Well, under student learning, just a reminder that the ministry eventually decided to make the early learning screening tool mandatory. We've always had one. In kindergarten, we've added alphabet identification for this year just to make sure we're in compliance. And we have a good plan moving forward for a K-3 screening tool because by next fall, it'll be mandatory for K-3. And I believe you know that it will also be a standardized BC tool. And my information is that's probably 2 years away for that to be put into place. Even in social development, just a number of great resources here for parents. It's often come up at the board table here around substance abuse prevention and mental health for kids. So there's information here, both for the public as well as trustees, centered around or based upon the ERASE website, which is the sort of go-to place for resources for students, staff, and families. There's a great little video here of the track and field event. For those that were able to, I'll see if I can make that bigger. So it's neat to get this footage of what is likely the biggest district event other than GRAD.
A lot of concern about this drone on the field.
Yeah, they handled it quite well.
Like what, kids were wondering what it was?
kids and, you know, is this the latest way of making sure we're doing things properly at the finish line? Or-
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But by all accounts, senior staff were all there and lots of administrators and trustees and things went really well and really not a full number of complaints or controversies around that. And of course, there can be, so.
That would probably be the biggest single day event for sports,
Yeah.
like in the piece area, in the whole piece.
Oh,
area,
absolutely.
Kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's run like a well-oiled machine. It's very well supported by the district as well in terms of resources and support and staff and that kind of thing. So it's a great day. Further information here on substance use prevention series. You'll recall that throughout the year, we've shared with you some links to webinars, courses for not just for staff, but for parents as well. And again, more pieces here on the Erase website. Under student learning, career and skill development, just celebrations here of Bert Bowes career fair at the Northern Lights College. They took a group there to the Dawson Creek campus and also took part as part of that, the Energy Innovation Day in energetic services. I found out from Ian Zakodnik that the program there was awarded 3rd place in the Forged by Youth Award, which is a national award, and they received $5,000 in recognition of the creativity and competency of the welding program. So that was great to celebrate here. One more piece. So you can read about that. Mr. Campbell, along with Careers Department, organized a number of different career events throughout the year. I believe trustees have attended some of those around Spaghetti Building Bridge, but there's also this great one to kick things off this year around the catapult building. So there are different models of catapults that the kids can build. And then that gives sort of the focus for the teachers around ADST and preparing for those events. So we're pretty excited about that coming up as well. I'm going to hand it over to Wade just to talk a little bit about our HR situation so far this fall.
Good news keeps coming in. I think the last time we met, when I was preparing for the meeting, I had the number 7 for the number of full-time teachers we were looking for at that point. Quickly that morning, it turned to 6 before the presentation. Same thing this morning to start the day. It was at 2. We're down to 1 right now. So 1 full-time enrolling position still open. We did fill the position at 101 today and working on the French immersion position at Central. 186 postings for the 2025-26 school year. That's since January. So generally our postings for the next school year start to roll out January and February. 25 new certified hires this school year. 38 letter of permission teachers this year, and how that compares to last year. It's fairly similar numbers. 25 new certified last year, 35 letter of permission teachers last school year as well. We really focus on supporting our letter of permission teachers. They have lots and lots of support at the school level once they're there, collaboration and support from administration. But this year we've had them participate in 3 mandatory training sessions before the school year gets started. And that's with the learning support staff here, Charmaine Kretchan staff, the numeracy coaches, the literacy coaches, the ELL coaches. And that just gives them a really good foundation to start the school year off, focusing on planning and classroom management and sort of the fundamentals. So that was well received. To give you an idea of our retention rate last year, of the 25 new certified teachers, 23 re-signed and are with us again this year. So that's a 92% retention rate. So we're pretty happy, pretty pleased with that. We're looking to keep that trend alive. We have a new manager of health, safety, and wellness starting on October 6th. His name is Hashil Shah, and Hashil comes to us with school district experience, which we did not necessarily think we could find, but 7 years in another BC school district in a similar position. So that's good for us.
Terrific. Thank you. And I meant to mention at the beginning of my report to welcome Wade Hart, Assistant Superintendent to the board table in our board meeting. So thank you for that, Wade. The Northern Lights College, so as I noted up here, of course, support staff, the hiring continues. So we'll have a better sense of what gaps are still there by the end of September when schools know their budgets, they know their staffing needs, they know some of the learning challenges that they're going to need support for. For the education assistant, there are discounts. I was pleased to discover there are discounted courses at Northern Lights College. So we made sure everybody has access to that information where they can get upgrading as well as certification and they get a bit of a break on tuition. We've mentioned in the summer some coursework for LOPs, but also for any interested teachers and our new teachers, a really robust planning courses that were offered to our teachers in that week. And so that gives trustees and the public a sense of the topics that were covered, along with this next piece here. And there will continue to be fitness classes for staff offered for free throughout the year as far as Bar A goes, and they're still at Montmarie. As what came out of our bargaining last year with the teachers union was there was this interest to have some kind of messaging or signage and a common kind of approach to the safe and respectful work environment. Rather than making that part of the bargaining process or collective agreement, we worked with CUPE and the PRNTA to come up with some wording and the signage and symbols that everyone sort of agreed to. And this rolled out across the district in September, just as a reminder to any adults and anyone in any of our sites, not just schools, facilities, any location, that we're here for the kids and we want to see a respectful behavior model. So that was an exciting piece that came out of bargaining. For Truth and Reconciliation, our Indigenous Ed department is trying to put a focus this year on celebrating some of the successes of our Indigenous students. So this is a profile of one here from last spring. And so they're going to be looking for those stories, and I'll be happy to share those with trustees throughout the year in terms of those success stories.
I think that young lady that you have a picture of there
Yeah.
got the Youth Volunteer of the Year award.
Here it is here,
With
City
the
of Fort
state.
St. John. There
Yeah.
you go. Thank you. I couldn't read it there. So that is daily. Thank you, Ellen. And so, Elder Pat Johnson really tries and wants to focus on some of the success stories of our students. So we're going to continue doing that. Just some information here from the First Nations Health Authority for our Indigenous students. Many trustees were at the Indigenous Grad Barbecue, which was at the Lido this last spring. And, they may do that again. And that was well organized and lots of fun there. And finally, for trustees, just some celebrations around the district. Trip to Camp Cameron by Bert Bowes. Val Donnell, of course, thank you, Chair Gilbert, for providing the photos here of the installation and celebration of the new playground there. And once again, you'll recall that the outdoor education class at North Peace did a canoe trip in the past. They did another one, and so there's some pictures here to celebrate that. Item number 2 under education is the annual report from Cameron Lake. Under governance, I will be asking the board to break out the following 4 items, in fact, for promotions. One is to accept and approve the documents related to our framework. That's our education plans. Number 2, to approve the community coaches. Number 3, to approve out of district field trips. And number 4, to approve the post of responsibility. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. All right. Could I please get a mover and seconder for Stephen's report for everything except what we're pulling out for separate motions? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. Stephen. All right. Let's start with the things that we're not pulling out for separate motions. So let's go. Any questions from the information that was provided?
So just
Madeline?
on these top ones, are
Yes.
you planning on presenting some of it at the soup pack as well?
Absolutely. And as Madeline has pointed out, they really appreciate some of the sharing of the information for parents. And it's not just enough for it to be here tonight. We share that with them at the SUPAC meetings as well. Bill?
I'm trying to. What?
Stop here.
I'm very excited.
Why would you stop there?
92% retention rate?
Yes, that's very exciting.
This is very nice too. We gotta hold that off because we're gonna, when we go to terrace kind of thing, that's always a topic more there.
Yeah, we're gonna gather stats.
If we could add to that, the EOC list, how many we have in total. Other than that, that's nice.
I bet we'll bring that back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was gonna ask is on the postings. Teacher postings, curiosity, but there's some other professions on the teaching ones.
Oh.
Like the,
Or specialist.
yeah, special
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Those remain difficult that we
Oh, but I mean-
continue to try.
Yeah.
Come under the
They're
teacher's
on
contract.
they're on the teachers, oh, they're listed with all the teachers.
Yeah.
But aren't they with, I can't remember the third topic. There's like this teachers, support staff, and then exempt or managed, or I can't remember.
Or
Yeah.
contractor?
They're-
Specials come under the teacher's
Oh, yeah, they do?
contract, yes.
Okay.
Most of them, not all. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I just meant the third group was the exempt.
It is, but the, like OT, for example, is under the teacher's contract.
And then there's also contractors.
APT and CP.
Correct. Third-party contractors as well.
Yeah.
But we don't post that on that list of
Other
those.
than that, I mean, it's not, you look at the listings now, so few.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
What I thought was really interesting, because I was in working on some rural and remote stuff, was the number of those new teachers that were at these events and very excited about them. And it was just nice to see.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a topic on the local bargaining table, and
Yeah.
I feel this is it was a very good, because
Well, it kind of answers, like, when we met on the 25th, we talked about Campbell River having a policy, which, thank you, Thomas, he went and found it for me when I hadn't been able to find it, about basically adult behavior coming into the school. And this essentially covers it all.
Yeah, I think. Is that where you, I can't remember where you talked about barbecue at.
Right here.
Okay. A couple of days later, I was in purchasing something for Brian. And the guy that runs Toledo, and he complimented the whole event. Right from the amount, the people that turned out, the number we gave them, and the number that turned out, how close they were.
Terrific.
He normally says he expects 10% at least not to show. Right? And he said the attitude, the behavior, like everything was like so impressive.
Good feedback.
He was like, I would love to do this every year with them. Right? And not just, he said, not just for the money, just that it was ran so smooth. Yeah.
I have to tell you, the Baldano Playground, this piece up here, there's a webbing that the kids can either walk across or sit on. And my image from it, and I didn't get a picture of it, was the kids, they had their cake for celebratory cake, and they had ice cream cones. And there was big sisters, little sisters, all these kids sitting up on that web licking ice cream cones. And it was a neat picture.
That's great.
What's your headline on that bottom one?
I'm sorry. Outdoor education 10 and 11.
Hey, that program there.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, just another compliment for our students. I went into Boston Pizza, picked something up. And one of the people that I judged for the chili contest last year
Great.
was at the pickup counter.
Oh,
And he was like, I remember you judged a chili cook-off. He was like, thanks a lot for doing that.
right on.
And I was kind of like, oh, like, how do you remember? Like, you seen me once.
I'm sorry, was he the selected winner?
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Okay, good. Well done.
I honestly don't, actually, I honestly don't know, but I mean, it was just nice that it was like, hey, I don't know you, but you know, you're thanking us.
All right, so on everything but the separate motions, can I call the question, all in favor? All right, let's look at the items now for breakout. We've got many framework documents. I'm not sure this is a simplified process. It's nice that they give you the data to pull. So could I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the submission of the framework summary reports as presented? Moved by Bill, seconded by David. All right, discussion related to the framework for enhancing student learning, the enhancing student report, learning report, that's a review of data and the evidence with the pre-populated provincial template, and the interim progress report for the enhancing student learning report.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but for myself, I find it confusing, because if I look, the BC has the emerging, developing, proficient, and extending. But on the document, we're talking about on track, extending, there's no developing, no emerging. It's like, okay, which is not consistent.
Yeah, so even some of their own data will use the different titles.
And then I have to admit, I'm not sure. So it's on track. Is that equal proficient, or does it? Then I feel like I said, and I'm not even a parent that has to try and figure out where my kids are at. So I think that, and it's all on these documents. It's some have it, some don't, some do.
Maybe something like, because the first document is kind of the main one that senior staff use. The second and third document are more the compliance pieces to set into the ministry. All of the information for all three documents is essentially represented in the first one, the big one. But maybe some kind of piece that explains the proficiency scale, like a little annex or something. Remember in the past, we talked about just some of the acronyms and explaining that. So maybe we could address it that way too in the future.
And for future, you just use the same.
Same one, yeah.
Because like I said, they're not the same.
Yeah, and we work through that transition ourselves.
Mhm.
Oh, good point, thank you.
So when I had read the framework, I'd had a question for Stephen I gave to him ahead of time, but it's explained in these other documents. I was curious about what our staffing level is for the teacher that's assigned to child and youth in care, and what number of students we're actually talking about when we talk about this population. I recognize that all of the results are masked, but kind of K to 12, how many do we have in the system? Question. And the teacher time.
Yeah, so I can speak to the teacher time. I wouldn't know an exact number of the students because that does fluctuate. But it's a 0.4 FTE allocation, and that person, the coordinator position, has already set up a process and a template for the sharing of information with the Ministry of Children and Families. And it's been well received and appreciated throughout the district. I can get back to you on the exact number, but it does fluctuate.
Because if I understand, once you've been a child in care, you're always going to be under the purview of this particular person, because we want to make sure that those kids are doing okay when they obviously have faced some kind of traumatic event.
Yeah, and the tracking, is there in some form because they also are entitled to things like post-secondary breaks on tuition and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Did you have a guess?
For me?
Do you have a guess?
I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess just to produce a number, but what I can tell you is that that information sharing, and many districts still struggle with this a lot, finding out the names, the numbers, because the students, it does vary from year to year. Yeah.
Who's the teacher?
Pardon me?
Who's the teacher?
It's age
What is it?
20.
It is, okay.
Well, and I know that one of the things that Keith McGilvery had talked to us about was the fact that it was really hard to get information, because sometimes MCFD might have done an assessment on a child that was in care, but they didn't necessarily, as the interim guardian, share that information with the school. So having this person in place, I think, will really help with that information sharing piece.
We've already had other districts reach out and asking for information because they want to update the process.
Okay, and I was having a brain freeze. Where are we opening 24 new spaces for early childhood on page 27?
You might have me there, Helen.
We've been able to license another space in one program and will be open in the fall, adding 24 spaces.
That, not preschool and Taylor, that's
only
24
10
spaces,
seats.
that's only 10. Is it the childcare we're creating at RO?
I'll
Because
be
that
honest.
wouldn't open in the fall.
Come on, Helen, I'm trying here.
Oh, no, I just.
Cut your break.
Okay, like, how could I forget we were opening
Which page?
24
Which
new?
page?
Well,
Page
it's
27.
the first bullet, and so early learning staff, I'll find out where, but I'm pretty confident, like they put that, and so I'll find out where.
Yeah, no, I couldn't in my little brain
Yeah.
figure out where.
No, that's okay, and I think in the past also, we, Tracy has provided to the board that overview of all of.
Well,
the
and I didn't go back. It
No.
might be in the one you brought forward from
Could be.
in August 25th.
Yeah.
I felt like my brain should have.
No, thanks for the question, I'll get back to you on that.
That should be now, it should be open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're talking about Basque here.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Any other questions related to this? I also want to thank you for the clear alignment with the strategic plan. I think that that's an important piece.
Yeah.
All right. We already had a mover and a seconder, so calling the question on these documents, all in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the community coaches document. And I appreciated seeing in one instance, it was noted that we were waiting for a criminal record check. That was nice to see the diligence on that.
Question from trustee Snow.
We're missing somebody on here.
Uh-oh. Are we missing Mr. Snow on here?
No. Miss Gillis. Hadley Gillis.
Sorry?
Hadley.
Oh, right.
I don't know if she needs to be on there because she's a student.
Yeah, it's.
Which she could be getting credit for school for it.
Yeah, she could be getting work experience credit for it.
Well, yeah, so that'd be a different process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, she'll use all the benefits of this she can
There you go.
to go to some school that I can't pay for.
And the work, Helen said about somebody waiting for a criminal rep check. They are one of the groups that are not working right now.
Oh.
That's right.
Oh, that email that I.
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
Those exact people, like
Right, okay,
that group isn't working right now.
got it.
Well, the
Must have been on the-
BCP said there is interrupted service.
Yeah.
Must have been on the out of district sports trips. I saw the note that we were waiting.
Wrong.
Yeah. So
Just showed diligence. that's all. Right, could I please have a mover and a seconder for the community coaches? Moved by Nicole, seconded by Madeline, spreading it around. Any further discussion? Calling the question then, all in favor?
In favor.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the out of district field trips. And things are happening.
That is a list. That's great.
The run with the wolves. Okay, I think it's the Grand Prairie Wolves. That's just a little.
well, that would be a whole list.
Doesn't have to be, just don't have to be the slowest.
All right, can I have a mover and a seconder for the out of district? Moved by David, seconded by Madeline. Any further discussion, questions, comments? Calling the question, all in favor?
In favor.
Moving on then to the posts of responsibility.
Just ask, just because there's one different one on there. The Taylor's only elementary that has one.
Absolutely,
So
and
it's very small.
that's to better manage the admin changes throughout the year. Because the principal is going off on mat leave actually as of next week. And the returning principal, Mrs. Maxfield, will only be 0.7. And so this post responsibility ensures that sort of teacher in charge at the school for the times that the principal's not there and basically helping out throughout the year. So it's not like your typical post of responsibility like in the other schools. It's more in support of the leadership of Taylor School.
All right, could I please get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Nicole, seconded by Bill. We've had some of the discussion. Is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Carried.
In favor.
Thank you, Ida. All right, moving on then to the Secretary Treasurer's report.
Thank you. For my report, I have the finance update to August 31st, 2025. Some information around the 2025-26 preliminary enrollment update. The HR support staff summary from June 14th to September 8th. And the management update. Yeah, and that is my report.
Okay, can we get a mover and seconder so we can get some discussion detail happening? Moved by Bill, seconded by David. All right, let's start with Angela's first item, the finance update to August 31st.
Just a couple months. Yeah. A lot of projects going on over the summer through the facilities department, so that was great.
Looks nice and stable on
So it's kind of hard to make a comment on a snapshot. In the beginning, not a lot of grants come in yet.
All right. Moving on then to the HR support staff summary.
The preliminary enrollment update. I just had
Oh,
a
yes,
verbal
please.
update.
Where
Yeah,
is
so,
Or you, it's just, okay, I was looking for it on here.
no, sorry, it's, there is, so we pulled the numbers, just prior to Friday, and we had 5,890 FTE. And, for the brick and mortar schools, and then for our preliminary submission back in February, we had 5,008.
That doesn't include,
Doesn't include online.
doesn't include online.
We just pulled this off.
Okay, so we're not down.
We're not down. But again, this is, things can change, but we're pretty much aligned with what we predicted, so we're up 10, down 10.
Alignment's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now the HR report.
Yeah, it's definitely the month of shifting and resignations and just shifting. So really, it should be updated by the next report. We'll have some stability there.
think I mentioned this before, but can we try to rephrase that very last?
The termination.
I can't say that.
It is an HR, it is HR lingo. I also find it difficult, but it is what it is, so. Unless you have another word we could use.
Well, that's what it is, right?
It is a
You've terminated their employment.
All right, management update.
Management updates. So, very, very much aligned with Wade's, safety officer. We have a payroll manager starting on October 6th. She's an experienced payroll professional. She's coming to us from oil and gas. She is used to processing 1,500 weekly payroll, so this should be, what she gives up in volume, she'll pick up in complexity. So, she'll be a welcome addition. Again, we are sad to see Anita go, but we wish her all the best. And then, the other position that is also starting October 6th is the facility service manager. His name is Baha. Baha. And he comes to us with a skill set very strong in project management, scheduling. He has an engineering background, and he is, I believe he's been in the Peace region for about a year now, so.
He's replacing who? What's again?
The new position of facilities service manager.
I'm calling the question, all in favor of Angela's report? Right. And we missed a piece of Stephen's report, so we're gonna go back and look at Cameron Lake.
Thank you.
Oh. Good question.
I don't monitor the job postings as closely as Bill, but I see we have a seasonal outdoor education position which increased the center's capacity, which is nice to see the use of the center, so.
Yeah.
But my question to you, fellow trustees, is it worth sending this to Moberly Lake? Just to say, thought you might like to see all the wonderful things we're using our site for?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll follow through on that.
My 3 exchange students went there last week. And one had never been camping before, had to figure out how to use a sleeping bag. That's how green he was. And he came back with one of the biggest grins I've ever seen on a face. He
Not
said,
even-
I love camping.
Not even real camping.
No, but he loved it. He wants to go again.
All right.
We share that with others, like the Zimmers, the Keeleys, those kind of people.
Who?
Like Bob Zimmer and Keeley. Jordan Keeley, like,
For reason, for what reason?
we went to them in the past and tried to get their support. Took the place kind of thing.
When we were looking for the lease, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Well, we're still in that process, so I really don't.
We've got a lease.
Yeah.
And the people that we would have gone to before were previous provincial government officials. And they're not there anymore. But, I mean, we could,
Would hurt.
It's not one of our typical brick and mortar type schools.
okay,
So I mean.
all right, so keep thinking about who you want to send it to and pop me an email. I only have the question about Moberly Lake.
Isn't that, I know on the school district website, there's Cameron Lake, the availability calendar, but also, I mean, really,
This report is public.
to attach there. Cause it, I mean, the website itself has a good.
I just was thinking overly late.
Yeah, why not?
I wasn't thinking beyond overly late. All right, moving on to item number 9 on our agenda, which is we have a couple of policies to bring forward tonight. And so we've got policy 8005, purchasing procedures and protocol for technology. And was there any feedback from the system on this?
We voted on Angela's report, or did we go back into the Cameron Lake before we?
We did all that.
We did,
Okay,
yeah. And Cameron Lake, we passed
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No feedback.
No feedback on the policy change for purchasing procedures for protocol for technology? No feedback? All right. So could I please have a seconder for the motion that the Board of Education adopt policy 8005, purchasing procedures for protocol and technology? Madeline can't second it. She moved it to begin with. Seconded by Nicole. All right, moving on to policy 5009, laser pointers. Was there any feedback on this one?
Did you call that first one for a vote or no? Am I
Yeah, I do.
confused?
Calling the question, all in favor on that one?
In favor.
Just because it's the second one.
Yeah, it's
You were
okay.
just testing her. How'd you do?
No.
It's keeping me on my toes. Okay. Policy 5009, laser pointers. Our initial mover was Nicole, so I'm looking for a seconder that the Board of Education adopt policy 5009 on laser pointers. Moved by, seconded by Bill. All right. Was there any feedback on this policy before I call the question? All right, calling question then, all in favor?
In favor.
That's carried. All right. So moving on to 10, the Indigenous Education Council updates. There was lots of discussion at the meeting on Thursday about September 30th and the lead up and activities that were being planned in schools, which was nice to hear. So looking forward to seeing some of the things that come out of that. All right,
Helen, when we went to that meeting in June
yep,
and they said they were open to the board being part of that, are you so that?
I've been attending,
Okay, just clear that. Okay, thank you.
yeah,
That's the one.
because I was,
Sorry, David?
yeah, I was our connection.
Yeah, I just want, yeah.
Yeah, so that was why I went to Cameron Lake on Thursday. Okay, so other reports. Did you have anything as provincial councillor, Nicole? No. Okay. In your package, I gave you a report from the board chair call of September the 4th. I don't know if there's any questions.
Because you wrote.
It was okay. Minister Bear, she's a very good speaker. Her themes are kind of the same. So we've heard some of it. With the access zones around schools being continued?
Nope, I'm fine with that. I just had the question about, what's about capital?
Yep,
That is now under Ministry of Infrastructure.
yep.
Just to clarify.
Well, the Ministry of Infrastructure, if we want a new school, if we want an addition to the new school, we're dealing with the Ministry of Infrastructure now. We're not dealing with the Ministry of Education. Everybody that was part of the capital planning branch previously, it's now moved under the Ministry of Infrastructure. The same has happened with health, like Ministry of Infrastructure has absorbed all of the staff from everybody's capital departments.
They say we shouldn't see any interruption or transition of service for the next couple of years while they try to figure things out.
The
Money
idea,
ultimately comes from the same pot anyways.
Yeah, that they can learn from each other, right? Like there's something to be gained. Only each area have its own.
If I can, Helen.
Yeah.
It goes along with some legislation that's meant to remove obstacles and fast track things as
Yeah.
well. So they can essentially overrule municipalities if it ever came to that in terms of permitting, for example. And from the education side of things and maybe the other areas, it's about streamlining and coming up with designs that are similar.
Yeah, I remember reading that in the June
Right?
report.
And the next phase of that will be a standardized type of classroom space. For example.
Back into real institutions.
Well, and I mean, I wrote down exactly what was said, revisioning schools as community hubs. Well, our schools, especially in our rural areas, are already community hubs. We don't need to revision them as a community hub because it already exists, but those were the words which said. Right. So for the rural and remote had a presentation from Foundry, the virtual Foundry, and I included it in your package for a couple of reasons. One, the concept of what mental health supports are out there for families has been brought to the table as something that we've got concerns about more than once. So virtual Foundry is out there. The other thing that's mentioned in it that some districts are adopting is the concept of the Preventure program, which is mental health and substance abuse program that I think it was Campbell River just adopted using it. It was in the BCSTA. And as you know, we have a Foundry that will be coming to Fort St. John, and they are currently in the planning stages. So this is, the virtual Foundry is certainly there until we have access. And it was interesting. There's a page in here, let me just find it, provincial access, page 12. And it shows where they've had access from and the percentage of access. And you can see there definitely has been use from the north, so. So Bill mentioned it, we've been busy working on the Northwest and Northern Interior Joint Branch meeting in Terrace. Friday night, the 17th, 18th on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, for those that are interested, there is a trip up the Nass Valley. I'm hoping the actual registration form went onto the portal, but I didn't have a chance to check with Leah on that. We're going to take a look at the concept of recruitment and retention, what we've accomplished, focus on retention. We're also going to take a look at policy development and what's best practice in policy development, and do some work around early childhood education. As part of connecting people to the initiatives of the North, we've asked each school district to send in 3 slides that are celebrations of what's going on in their district with a few speaking points. So Stephen has offered to help. He has some ideas already. I thought we'd hear what he has to say, and then if there's some other things, we only get to celebrate 3, but we'll go from there.
Yeah, just thinking that it might be 3 slides. Some ideas for trustees to celebrate are the overall umbrella kind of careers, which could encompass things like we've had presentations from the kids on the robotics, for example, and competing nationally on that. So that also encompasses things like ADSD and Explore Fest, could be part of the same theme or same slide, kind of experiential learning, if you will, as per the board strategic plan. Project Heavy Duty is in there. So that experiential learning, I think, would be an interesting one. Under Truth and Reconciliation, a bit of a highlight was the visit to all the communities when we did that 2 years ago. And so there'd still be some pictures and some of the planning pieces associated with actually going on community. And under curriculum, if you're looking for something in that sense, there's the examples and presentations we've had on things like thinking classrooms, and the anchor resource of methodology that could be put together. And then finally, you've also received some really good summaries of the early learning and childcare initiatives in the school district, which are quite robust, I would say, compared to most northern districts. And so just some ideas on things that you could celebrate as trustees. There might be others.
I like the idea of putting some things under careers for sure.
Because there's gonna be how many schools?
There
And
is
how many districts?
a total of
14.
14
Or so.
between the two.
But the challenge is, if I may, like you don't want to have a slide that has 15 different things on it that you're trying to figure out what it's about. So, you pick one or two, I guess. Yeah,
And the idea with it is we will send it out to everybody afterwards so that if you saw something and you're going, oh, what district was it that was doing that? I'd like to know more about it. We'll send it out afterwards so that that connection can be made and help.
track and field, for example. Sports.
So we have to have the to Roxanne by the 30th of September, so
Well, I don't really think you can go wrong with any of them.
Just let me know how you want me to help or not, and then make sure you have some good slides for our district.
so if you have any other burning things that you want, we'll.
Maybe a new teacher, like orientation and the whole process, the bus ride and
We did quite a few that did take the bus ride, because then last year there weren't that
this
many.
year there were.
It was full.
Oh, really? Because last year.
Wade
Probably
went.
3/4.
Yeah, I'd say even more than
Yeah.
that. Probably 85-90%.
Yeah, there was a really positive, excited vibe in the room. It was.
So, you guys decide what you want in there and then let us know how we can help.
The only thing I could suggest is like, it's all kind of school focused, which is fine, but one thing, like, we often hear it from the other boards, they get excited about our idea that we've been going out to the schools for
Yeah,
our
I was thinking
community
that.
goal.
Yes.
So it would be more about board success. I think that would maybe
Like a
interest some
governance
interest.
success.
Yeah. I don't know if we've taken any pictures while we've been at those schools.
Few.
You can kind of explain what it is, whether it's great pictures or not.
Yeah,
But it's interesting because then it could align with some of the board strategic plan
Yeah.
pieces, governance, maybe there's a slide on some successes of the board there.
Yeah.
And that could include going out to the schools and whatever. Yeah.
A few others have told me that they go to the school for a meeting. And then or a tour, and then they leave and come back to the board office for a meeting. But we're doing the whole package kind of thing. Okay? And
well,
they were,
it's giving the school, that school gets more time for their framework presentation, and it's in their school, and I just find that the administrators are so excited to have us there, right? To actually be in their schools. I don't know if we talk about like how we used to do it and then how
Okay.
this is kind of.
We'll play with it a little.
I
bit.
mean, it's hard to represent it on the slide without having to explain it. too.
Yeah.
So that just, at the end of the day, you'll have to choose something that
Yeah.
easily explains itself.
yeah,
But by the way, Helen, we could take pictures of you in Clearview. I know that's past the due date, but you could have a placeholder.
I think there's some from Duncan Cran.
That's what I think.
I think in your.
Well, and even at North Peace, when we were looking at that garden, that
Oh, my
robotic
goodness, yes.
garden
Yeah,
thing, I
outside.
feel like somebody was standing there taking a picture, but yeah, it might be hard.
It was
Maybe the
a
principal
shirt.
has one, but anyways.
I mean, the group there from Burns Lake, is it Burns Lake and Fraser?
In
That
Chuckle Lakes,
together?
including
Yeah.
Burns Lake.
They were very intrigued with how we did that.
Yeah.
Like they were wishing they could do it, but they're so spread out.
It would be more a question of paring it down.
Right, provincial council is October 24th and it is virtual. So you can sign up as an observer, and if you're interested in taking on that role of provincial council and you've never attended, you can attend virtually.
All day thing, or is it?
No, it's just a morning, I think,
What is it?
9 to 12, yeah.
Sorry, what day? 6?
I thought I answered you when you asked.
And trustee academy is coming up November 27th to 29th. BCPC, trustee Lehman.
I don't think I have anything passed on. I did realize that Friday email, one part of it was for everybody, so I just forwarded that this afternoon. And there will be a sector call at the end of the month.
And we've had a standing item of board pro-D committee, and one of the things in going through the FESL, there's a real change to competency-based IEPs, and I thought that might have been of interest. And as part of the equity scan, trustees were to be involved in the concept of FESL competency, and there is an Indigenous manual that they went over at Cameron Lake on Thursday. And that would come to us so we can see what the plans are around that. And we put 2 tentative dates there with a start ahead of board meeting at 4:30. So hopefully that fits with your wishes, because there were things that we needed to take a look at.
Did you say, Madeline, that you sent an email this afternoon? I didn't get anything.
You were on the list too. We just talked about this, the BC EOG.
Okay, moving on. We received this letter from school district number 5. I don't even know how they knew that we sent a letter to, maybe I told them that we sent a letter to John Zuricelli. The only person we've heard back on that program is actually from MP Bob Zimmer. He thinks it's in the pipe, but I haven't heard back from that office at all. And I raised it at the rural and remote meeting last week, and they were off to the CSBA conference and their meeting, and they were going to talk about it. They think it's out there, but there's been no follow-up on it, and we just really want to make sure that it's not a issue that just dies. And so this is a reach out from School District 5 to say, if it doesn't go through, could we look at a joint motion to push for it to go through? So that's a wait and see, but it is a piece of correspondence. And then you'll find this letter is both on this agenda and our later one. I received this letter. Remember, we wrote to Minister Bear on way back in May regarding sustainable funding for early childhood education. And on July 2nd, this letter came. One of my questions to Stephen, based on this letter, is to reach out to our early childhood team and see if they've heard from the ministry's child care community development team, because there's a lot of conversation that these people are out there working. But when I asked the question in some of my other meetings about who has been talked to, nobody actually seems to have been talked to. So I just really want to make sure that we know what's happening there.
Well,
So no follow-up.
to be honest, the letter to me doesn't address the funding.
All right.
Good words, but it doesn't say
Politician wrote it.
very much.
Okay.
It just says that you want to build a long-term plan. Well, yeah, but how?
Yeah, I know. All right, moving on to unfinished business. I attached the select standing committee report to the agenda and did a little summary for you. The people that were sitting on the select standing committee this time actually seem to have a real interest and a passion for dealing with rural and remote. And I think the term rural and remote is mentioned in this document over 90 times. And having looked at these documents before, rural and remote has not been emphasized at all to the degree that this is in. Now, remember, their recommendations go forward for the next budget. that doesn't mean that they will necessarily be acted on, because there's a continual reminder that, cost constraints due to tariffs and all those kinds of things, it's going to be a lean, mean budget. But the fact that this emphasis and focus was there on rural and remote is something that we don't want to lose.
Bad timing on our behalf.
Pardon?
Bad timing on our behalf.
So, yeah. And we as a district got mentioned a few times in there, so. Matters. One of the things that came up at the rural and remote table, because I asked point blank, tell me, you're sitting on that committee, what's happening with that? And it's a great big pause. So that continual nudging, I think, is going to be needed on that, moving that forward. And then this is just for your information. It's a follow-up to the OPS sites. I get the statistics once every little while, but the important piece for you to know is they're still in the process of remodeling that facility, and they don't expect to have it open till January. So the services are being delivered in a tent up by St. Luke's Church, I think it is. So.
So are those numbers truly the monthly visits?
Yep.
That's it.
That's the number of visits. It's not the number of people, it's the number of visits. So somebody could be represented more than once.
But I don't have numbers at all, but I was told the other day at work by our person that supports like deaths and stuff, that the number of overdose deaths is going down. Good.
But I don't think it has to do with this according to the monthly visit.
No,
Okay, just bringing the information back. Moving on to item number 14 on our agenda. We have the minor capital plan that is presented by Angela. And so could I please have somebody make the motion, the Board of Education approve the minor capital plan for 2026, 2027. Moved by David, seconded by Nicole. All right, discussion.
Thank you. So for the 26-27 year, so that means the funding, if we get it, will come into play April 1st, 2026, and be available to us till March 31st, 2027. So the Transportation Department in true form has asked for as many buses as they can. So last year we did receive 5. We haven't received them yet, but in the plan, we did get 5 accepted. So we thought we'd try for 5 again this year. Specifically, they are in order of rank. So the top most important, most need is at number 1, and least is at number 5. Moving on to the carbon neutral program. We've asked for, similar to what we did last year, we're looking for an HVAC replacement at Bird Ambrose. And we've put 400,000 of it under carbon neutral program. And then the remaining amount under the SEP, which I know you're going to ask me what
School
that's.
enhancement program.
Thank you.
Thank
School enhancement program. We split it up that way. That gives us a better chance of getting more money, because school enhancement program, we're likely going to get, he said I think he said 600,000 to up to $1 million, but he said $1 million, quite a stretch. So, and then another familiar item from last year is the RAP, the exterior wall system, which we moved out of the SEP under the carbon neutral program, because we're looking to get better installation, upgrade the windows. And so that aligns with the ask for carbon neutral. So that is increased a bit just because costs are increasing every year for that one. We kept the same playground on there for replacement Clearview. We didn't get it last year, so we try again this year for it. Then under SEP, we have the HVAC, which we mentioned, the roofing for Acol Central, just for a portion of it. And then Dr. Kearney roofing is the last three are like 3, 4, and 5. Under SEP are new asks this year. Roofing hasn't been haven't had a lot of roofing projects. So we're in a bit of need. So we're proposing to the ministry that we do them in phased approaches. So Acol Central would be in 2 phases. Dr. Kearney would be in 3 phases. Upper Pine, we're looking to upgrade the plumbing. We're having some issues accessing the tanks in the basement. There isn't enough room down there, and it's come to our attention that there is some water issues out there. And then Taylor, the fire alarm panel needs to be replaced as it's in a troubled state. So it's the buzzer is not working as it should. So
So are these ranked like the buses?
these are ranked like the buses, yes. Or, you know,
My comment on the Clearview Playground is, I think that the piece that they just put in at Baldonnel, which isn't very big, was $258,000. So $200,000 is not gonna buy a lot.
that's a standard amount. I can't ask for more, or that is what the ministry
PAC is looking
gives
at
us to replace
soliciting,
funds.
because I told them that too.
There,
Well,
there is
and
a-
I
there is
said
a-
too, and there's a regional district.
Yeah, and there is a way, like, so if we get 200, we can always work with what their goals are. We can get one that is, you can add pieces to, so it doesn't have to be a one and done. Because 200,000 won't get, I think you're okay.
A lot of big sales to get there.
It's very hard to say, you know, this one's more important, this one, or this one's more important kind of thing.
It's not just even
But-
importance, but the shape they're in.
Yeah,
Are you speaking to
Pretty old.
playground specific?
no, in like the 5 of these down the bottom, but the fire one to me is. When the fire marshal,
Not going on.
if the fire marshal can walk in and say, this is not safe,
Well, this
my
is,
understanding is the fire marshal has, like, he can do a lot of stuff.
yes, it's
Like,
I just want to be clear, like, it has passed inspection with a need to look at replacing it over the timeline we've put it in there.
okay,
So it hasn't failed anything, and there, on top of that, there is other plans other than just fire alarms that
Okay.
are put
the
in.
wording there when it said needs to be replaced. I'm just picturing a fire marshal going, fix this now, this needs to be replaced, kind of thing.
They have a safety plan in place as well, so I can change the wording. This
All right.
wording I can't change, I
All right,
can't change.
just-
No, that's great.
After working in restaurants and that for many years, if a fire marshal comes in and says, you must do this, you must do it, kind of thing.
I think I would
So-
change the word unreliable.
That's what I did. There we go.
And in the audit report, one of the things that they looked at that was kind of a risk management thing was putting money into something that shouldn't be fixed. And I like the detail on the busing asks because some of those things show that when you're continually welding the frame, it's not very good.
And there, with the transportation, there's there's backup that goes
Mhm.
along with the inspection reports as well.
On the last one, though, you don't have the year. It's for the other reason. All the other ones have the year.
I'll- This is all pulled out of, my caps. I'll
All right, any further discussion before we call the question on that? On question then, all in favor?
In favor.
And we don't have any new business. Early for new business. Donna's not with us tonight. None of our other guests are, so we've hit the questions from the press and public related to agenda items.
I do actually have one.
Okay.
Just to clarify about the buzzer, it does work.
It does work.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Point of clarification.
I may have to reword that.
You know me.
I will do some rewording. It is functioning. It's just, it's going to start failing. So we want to get there before it fails, I guess.
Preventative.
It's preventative maintenance. Yeah, it's a little along the way it reads.
I will reword it. Thank you.
Pardon the
Clarification.
pun.
Sorry.
A little alarming.
Hard in the fun.
All right. Could I please have a mover and seconder to suspend our regular meeting and move into in camera? Bill and David, all in favor?
In favor.
All right, Leah, please stop the recording. Leah? Could I please have a motion that the in-camera motions be brought forward for implementation?
Give it to my Ida.
Ida,
So moved.
great, all in favor? Carried.
Is there a seconder?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
okay. I looked at David, I didn't yell his name. All right, mover and seconder for adjournment, please. Madeline and Bill, all in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Leah, please stop the recording.